Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us on our midday newscast. I'm Ginger Conejero-Saab. Laura and Marcus are off. The biggest spectacles of Fleet Week are starting today. The Blue Angels fly this afternoon, weather permitting. But low clouds and fog can't stop the parade of ships, which is happening right now. And NBC Bay Area's Kris Sanchez joins us from right near the Golden Gate Bridge with a burning question. Kris, will the Blue Angels be able to fly?
Well, I just got notification from the spokesperson for SF Fleet Week, and they say they just did their performer briefing and that everything is a go for today, at least. But I'm going to explain how they reach that conclusion, how they get to that point. Now, we do have the parade of boats here behind me, which you can see if we drop that video out. I'll step out of the shot so you can see they're starting to come under the Golden Gate Bridge, and they will be making their way through the bay all morning long. You'll see them all along the Embarcadero, over by Marina Green. You'll be able to see them from the Bay Bridge as well. And we see some planes overhead as well, so that is exciting. Now, you can see all of this along the Embarcadero. We expect 1 million people in San Francisco through Fleet Week festivities. And through the weekend, once those planes, those ships arrive, people can kind of get up close and personal with all of them and see what they do, ask those personnel members what it is that they do and what all of this heavy equipment is for. Now, as you might be seeing in the shot here, there are low clouds. There is low sky or low clouds and a little bit of fog, so you might be wondering, what does this mean for the festivities later with the Blue Angels? And what we know is that it is a game day decision. They do evaluate what it's going to be, but here's the criteria. If the cloud ceiling is 8,000 feet or higher, then we are treated to a high show. That means we see all of the maneuvers, the rolls, the loops, the passes, the diamond formation. The visibility has to be greater than 3 nautical miles. Now, if it's overcast, kind of the way that it looks right now, that is a cloud ceiling of at least 4,500 feet, we still get a show, but it's what the Blue Angels call a low show. The pilots will do some maneuvers, but we won't see any of that rolling that kind of makes our stomachs roll right along with it. If the cloud ceiling drops to 1,000 feet, then we see a flat show, pretty muted, still exciting for civilians, but definitely not what those Blue Angel pilots are known for. And then if the ceiling drops lower than 1,000 feet, then the Blue Angels don't fly at all. Cinthia is going to tell us where the ceiling is forecast to be at 3 o'clock this afternoon and over the next couple of days as well. But Fleet Week isn't just about putting military might on display. It's also about putting the public and service members in the same place. And we talked with the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, who is the highest ranking enlisted Marine. He's also the first Latino in that position. And he says it's so important to make that connection between the public and their service members so that they can see where they come from and that, you know, and who they will be when they re-enter society, because they'll be coming in, the Sergeant Major says, of course, as CEOs, as parents, as workers. We're at all of the other places that we go. Now, I told you what the ceilings have to be in order for the Blue Angels to fly, and Cinthia Pimentel is the expert in what those ceilings are likely to be. Of course, the parade of ships continues right now. The air show starts later this afternoon at 12:45, and the Blue Angels take flight, we hope, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But like I said, the pre-performance briefing by the Blue Angels happened, and everything seems to be a go.
Thank you, Kris. Well, we are starting to mix out of that morning cloud cover. So for the preparations getting underway today, I see some clear skies going into about 2, 3 this afternoon. So no problem there. What we'll be watching and waiting for word from the Navy and from the FAA ultimately will be what happens on Saturday. We have been talking all morning long about the chance of seeing some moisture in here as we go on into the morning hours. North Bay going to get it first, but that could drop, really start the ceiling Saturday morning in San Francisco
show at about 3,000 feet. And as that moisture and that cloud cover comes through, it could drop it to about 1,000 feet. So that could put the lowest of shows in jeopardy for the Blue Angels. I see it remaining a bit overcast throughout the day too, even if there aren't any showers. So something to wait for word from the Navy, from the Blue Angels, from the FAA. If they notify us, we'll of course notify you. But don't be discouraged. Today looks great. Tomorrow, that questionable mark right there. But into Sunday, the grand spectacle of the Blue Angels, I see it clearing and actually bumping up those numbers a little bit. I'll be